Hey, everybody, welcome on back to Rubbin' Is Racing. It's brought to you by NASCAR. And then there were four. We have our championship four. One driver will be crowned champion of the NASCAR Cup Series this weekend in Phoenix, right? So we'll be there, boots on the ground throughout the whole weekend. Be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you have yourself Kyle Larson, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, and Christopher Bell duking it out along with a full field of drivers. And you can tune in for all the action. Like I said, on Sunday, the 5th of November, I believe, it's going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC. What's up, boys? How's everybody doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Spider, I'm looking forward to seeing you out in Phoenix. I should mention to people that we'll be at the Truck Series race on Friday because we do have the Rubbin' Is Racing truck, the 51, piloted by Jack Wood for Kyle Busch Motorsports in that race. So we're going to be in and around the racetrack on Friday. Saturday, for people who are out there in Phoenix, come to Barstool Scottsdale. It's myself, Spider, and Riggs from Foreplay. I think Riggs is out there all year round. So we're going to be at Barstool Scottsdale, tearing it up kind of early. I think like 5 to 7 on Saturday.
Yeah.
Something. Yeah. So
prime drinking hours.
It really is. And I'm trying to recruit some more Barstool talent to come join us on the trip. I'm not going to name names just in case it falls through, but we have some personalities that live out in that area or nearby it that have come to NASCAR events in the past that expressed interest in attending this weekend. So hopefully we can pull some strings and get them involved. Fuck it, I'll just say it's Jeff D. Lowe. If he can't make it, make sure you tweet at him and say, why didn't you go to NASCAR? Why didn't you go to NASCAR? So yeah, Jeff D. Lowe, hopefully we can get him out as well. He's in LA, so I think that's a quick drive or a quick flight rather. We'll see. And then that would be great to have him. So more the merrier. Everyone's welcome. Barstool Scottsdale, going to be a great time. Last time we were in Arizona, we had Jeb Burton, Noah Gregson. We had a couple drivers out there. So same invite, open invite to everyone, race fan, not a race fan, whoever. So come see us, Barstool Scottsdale. It's going to be a good time.
Speaking of Jeff, which we'll probably get into it later, sad day for him. He's one of the few Almirola guys out there.
You're right.
He loves Eric Almirola.
Jersey Jerry every week takes Deontay Johnson to score a touchdown. Jeff D. Lowe every week takes Eric Almirola to win the race. At least he did for like 3 consecutive years. So.
Eric Almirola was the first guy that I ever interviewed for Rubbin' Is Racing. He had like a small investment portfolio. He kind of likes to day trade, or at least he did when we first started doing this. So that first trip that we did to Daytona, 2020, I went to his hauler, and not his hauler, his RV actually, where his family was. His kids were playing and stuff like that, I believe. And so it was one of the things. All right, so that I'll mention Eric in a sec. So everyone, if you can, get over to Barstool Scottsdale. It's a pretty cool place. We were there once before, like Spider had said, and we're going to get tore up. Again, the truck race is late. You can catch it at 10 p.m. on Friday. It's going to have a 7 p.m. start over in Phoenix. So we're going to be there at the track, very, very present. We're looking forward to it. Let's get into this week's episode. We don't have a guest this week. We were offered a couple of people, but particularly Championship 4 drivers, but there's a good chance that we would have them next week. We'd found out that the champion, whoever it is, will be doing their New York victory tour. I think they do on Good Morning America and whatnot. Ricky Stenhouse had done it after he won the Daytona 500, and then Ricky was nice enough to come in with the trophy, with the ring, with the watch. So I believe that's going to happen again next week. So the final episode of Rubbin' Is Racing for 2023 will be starring Spider and Quiggs, co-starring me, and with a special guest, whoever the champion from Phoenix is. So that's kind of exciting. Spider's seeing if he can fly in for it, and we'll get nuts. I got a couple of DMs this week. One was from a guy named Trey Ryan. I like this stat. I'm starting to become a stat guy. Every now and again, I watch like Race Hub and Larry McReynolds, who's the only guy who's older than me. I love stats. And maybe it's just old guys in stats. But this guy, Trey Ryan, sends in, because we were talking about Kyle Larson's season. And I think Quiggs had pointed out that how he either wins or he doesn't finish. Kyle Larson's did not finish at do not DNF at Homestead was the 49th of his career. He has now surpassed Kevin Harvick for career DNFs, despite having almost 500 fewer races than Harvick. That's a very telling stat. And I think it's one of the ones that I like going into this weekend. I don't want to jump ahead, but I don't know if Larson finishes this race. I just kind of get that feeling. You know what I mean?
I mean, there. It feels like there's always one. Like one of the four is going to have some car troubles or get in a race and do not finish. And Kyle Larson's kind of a prime candidate for that any race.
Yeah, but 49, which is more than Harvick, and 500 fewer races than Harvick. And Harvick arguably raced in a time where people raced harder. Is that maybe fair to say? I don't. Either way, 500 less races and more DNFs. So something to keep an eye on for this weekend. Second one, I was going back and forth with a guy named Matt Baltic. We were talking about Blaney, big Blaney fan, and then he said, I wonder who Blaney's sister will be rooting for on Sunday, with Blaney and Byron in it. For people who don't know, Blaney, Ryan Blaney dates an absolute fucking rocket ship, but his sister dates William Byron. I don't believe they're married, but they refer to each other as brother-in-laws. So perhaps they're engaged. I don't know. But the guy had asked me that question. I think the answer is pretty simple, right? Wouldn't you rather be fucking the champ than be sitting across from him at Thanksgiving? That's what I said to him. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to, his sister, but could you see a universe where the guy that you're dating, possibly engaged to, right, would be put behind your brother? And we were just talking about it casually. Matt doesn't feel like he has a horse in this race or anything. You guys agree with me 100%, no?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough situation when you put it like that. I didn't really think about it from that perspective, but I think I'd probably rather be William Byron.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you have to, she would say that she's equally rooting for both of them. I think you root for the guy you're dating. Like you probably like him more than your fan. Like you choose that person.
But do you think that she could get away with what was it, AJ Hawk's sister when she was dating Brady Quinn? Remember that? I think that was that bowl game, Ohio State, Notre Dame, where she showed up with the half Notre Dame jersey, half Ohio State jersey.
That would be sick.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like the 24-12.
That's
almost got
probably
like
what
a little
she'll do.
bit of Donna Kelsey going on, where it's like she's got two horses in the race. She doesn't know who to root for. She got conflicting interests.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting to say. I hope they put a camera on her. Another thing that I had noticed, somebody had said, or everyone is saying, that this is the youngest average age in championship history. Of the four drivers, their average age is somewhere around 28. And so out of Larson, Blaney, Bell, and Byron, do you guys know off the top of your heads who's the youngest of those four? I know I have it written down.
I would guess Bell.
No, it's Byron. Bell's like sneaky. I think Bell's like 28. He's a little bit older than you would assume.
That's kind of what I assumed he was, like 27,
I think Byron's
28.
like 26, 25, 26, maybe even 24.
Byron is sneaky young. He is. He's only 25. He's the youngest. I mean, I think Bell has got the biggest baby face, right? Like, Bell does look like an infant. Obviously, Blaney can grow a beard in a day. The oldest is Larson at 31, then Blaney at 29. You guys are right. Bell is 28 years old. And William Byron's only 25 with 6 wins. And I'm still plus 850 on my future with him, so I'm feeling okay about it going into the Final Four. But I just think that we got a really good race coming up with a bunch of young guns. I don't know how this worm is turning and championship fours are becoming younger and younger. Blame it on Sims. Not blame it, give credit to Sims so people can kind of be able to perfect their craft without being on the course for 500 more races like Kevin Harvick. So anyway, it's going to be a young and an explosive Final Four championship weekend in Phoenix, and Ryan Blaney's sister is going to only be rooting for the guy who she could possibly be taking a deep from later on that night. Right to headlines.
She should just wear a Christopher Bell shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone but Christopher Bell.
I have one of the stupidest questions in the world that I'm going to ask you guys later on. But headline, Spider, this one's for you. Wrestling Hall of Famer and host of USA Network's Barmageddon, Nikki Garcia. She's one of the Bella twins. Do you know this girl?
Okay.
She used to.
I'm unfamiliar with her work.
Oh, I'm telling you right now, don't come at me, Liv Morgan fans. But I'm not as much of a blonde as I am a brunette and a redhead guy. So Nikki Bella is one of the Bella twins. I believe she was engaged to John Cena for a while. She is a smoke show. Bonk me all you want. I don't give a fuck. She's going to be introducing the championship for drivers for the Bill France Cup before the NASCAR Cup Series championship race this Sunday. So there's a good chance that you and I, again, are in the drivers' meeting, and there's a good chance that I go over, what do you do here? What do you do to follow up with an absolutely, I'm telling you, this girl is stunning. And I know you got the Italian in you, Diorio. So this girl also has a little bit of Italian in her. So there might be more of a connection, might be more
What's
kismet.
her name? I gotta pull up a photo.
You do. So her name is Nikki Garcia now because that's her married name, but she was one of the Bella twins, Nikki Bella.
I think I'm the same line. The line worked when I said, "Who are you pulling for today?" We'll see how much of a race fan they are immediately, and we'll see what kind of energy they bring. Not all can have that Liv Morgan energy. You're out here talking about Nikki Garcia, which maybe, but she better come with some full ass energy if she's gonna one up Liv in my book. So
I hear you. So Liv's still number one.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. She has an opportunity to steal my heart, but I mean, the ball's in her court.
Sexiest female wrestler of all time, Quiggs. Who?
Oh, I could not be more out on wrestling.
Really? Don't know it at all.
Don't know it. Don't like it.
Okay.
Oh no.
I also think it's something that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like I never watched it as a kid, and it feels impossible to like get into as an adult, like knowing how. Which I know, like. It's fake isn't a good excuse because like they're not trying to pretend it's not fake, but I despise wrestling. I think it's one of the dumber things out there.
I'll tell you right now, that's not going to play well. Wrestling fans will come for your fucking neck.
Yeah.
I would, you know what I mean?
But like, I don't know. It's like, what are they defending? Like when I watch it, it's like you guys are defending it that hard. Like it's so stupid.
I appreciate you dying on the hill. I was into it for a little while when I was a kid.
Same.
Back in whatever the 80s. Not the same for you, Spider. Yeah. But, so like Ivan Putski and shit like that was my guy, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, before he went down the wrong road. But yeah,
Rey
there's just
Mysterio, John Cena.
Let's go. The Rock. But like Trish Stratus and Sable and fucking Stacy Keibler, Tori Wilson. There's been some rockets that have kept me busy for some time. After he scores his best finish of 2023 at Martinsville, I mean, Eric Amarola almost won that thing. He almost won that thing on Sunday. Yeah. So he finishes P2, right? He finished P2.
Yep.
He'll not return to the number 10 of SHR, and Smithfield's going with him. So Amarola announces retirement last week, and then Smithfield Bacon said that after so long being with the 10 car and with Eric, they're actually stepping away from NASCAR as well. There hasn't been any official news on who's stepping into the 10, and I asked around to see whether or not if the 10 didn't have a perfect replacement for Amarola, could they lease it? And apparently you can. You can have passive income with some of these cars. I don't know if that's what they want to do. But the guy that they've been throwing around, Spider, who have you heard? Who have you heard that's going to step into the 10?
Well, I'm taking Bob Pockers's word for it, and he seems to remain of the opinion that Noah Gragson is the favorite for that ride, which I'm excited to see if that comes to fruition. I think that could be cool dynamic to have SHR have four really exciting drivers, in my opinion. I mean, I'm obviously a Ryan Preece guy, Connecticut ties, and then what him and Briscoe did with the Wonder Bread, Old Spice, Talladega Nights scheme, and then Briscoe's been a boy of ours for a very long time. So that'd be a very fun team to root for. Josh Berry would come in as the veteran presence. I think that could be a lot of fun. And also, I don't really know who else. If it's not Noah, who else is even
Cole Custer.
That's a good point. Thank you for mentioning his name. I think there might be some animosity. Cole Custer, I'm pretty sure it's either him or Austin Cindric or possibly both of them. I think have family ties to the Ford team that they race for, and I feel like Cole's been pretty patient. He had a shot at Cup. He went back down to Xfinity. He paid his dues. and he's going to be knocking on the door for a cup ride here sooner or later. So we'll see if he gets disgruntled, if he wants to jump ship or take his talents elsewhere. It's going to be interesting to see. But I guess that's how this part of the season always is, with drivers changing teams and whatnot.
Do you think that if Cole Custer, so Cole is one of the final four, championship four,
right,
for Xfinity, you think if he wins Xfinity, that puts him ahead of Noah Gragson on the list to possibly jump into that ride? I know Pacres, there's been nothing confirmed. I checked again today, nothing from SHR, nothing from Noah. We're taping this on Wednesday around noon. So I don't know, does that affect I mean, we like Cole Custer, we like Noah Gragson. So this is a win-win to see either of those guys back in Cup.
I mean, I could be wrong, but from an outsider perspective, I'm of the opinion that 10 car is a car that brings funding and immense sponsorship. So you look at Eric Almirola, and I love him for it, but every race has been sponsored by Smithfield, which has been sweet. He's one of the few remaining cars that we see that time and time again has like a flagship brand behind it. So that's been cool. But my concern with that is, are they going to try to get someone like that to replace him, meaning someone that comes with immense financial commitment, or a sponsor that's willing to cut the check for them. So I don't know who that may be. That might, if Noah and Team Gregson are able to find funding, they may take precedent on that. Or
Did that?
go
Oh
ahead,
wait, keep going. Keep going.
or I was going to say they may just decide to go with someone that they already had in house, as they did with. If you remember, Ryan Preece was a backup driver, and he kind of paid his dues, waiting in the shadows for a cup seat to open up, and now that 41 is finally his. I feel like Cole's kind of doing that same thing in the Xfinity series now, so he's sticking with the team. He's loyal to them. It would be interesting to see who they go with. Are they going to reward him, or are they going to go outside with someone that brings a lot of funding? Quiggs?
It's with needing the sponsorship with Smithfield gone, like Noah was, I think, a great like sponsorship guy, and seemed like with
Agreed.
Wendy's and stuff, had like more than any other driver, like all these activations, and did like stuff above and beyond, and was probably a sponsor's dream. But now also has the opposite, where he has like something on his record that sponsors like scares the shit out of sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want him. So that's got to be just a huge catch-22 of like, for Stuart Haas, is like, is he going to be able to just, will people forget and he can go back to being the sponsorship king, or is that going to be something that kind of haunts him and makes it tough to get him sponsored?
Yeah. I'd also like to see Riley Herbst's name while we're throwing around potential candidates. He's done really well recently. He got his first win, and then I think he got a second place finish thereafter. So really impressed with the way that he's been coming up. And then I know he just re-signed again to Xfinity Storehouse Racing next year, but two guys in-house at Storehouse Xfinity that should be considered.
Well, we see how much these cars are going for. I mean, BJ McLeod just got the bag, and it seems like a couple people have pretty deep pockets. So whatever the equivalent of leasing a seat for, maybe that is the move. And you wait and see how the public's perception of Noah Gragson is in a year's time. You see if Cole Custer follows up his success in Xfinity. You see how Riley Herbst develops. I think Noah's done all the right shit. I think Noah's done all the right shit since this went down. So, as Kyle Larson had that hiccup when he had, said what he said on that Twitch stream, and obviously winning races makes people forget. Like maybe Noah won't be so forgiven if he doesn't come in and make a positive impact on SHR right away. But geez, it's all positive for me. Like with SHR going forward, I think so. I don't know. Same. It's out there, and it's one of those things.
Any of those candidates would be fun. I mean, we're good buddies with all of them, and also the back to the sponsorship. And if they want to replace the 10 car with a guy that brings sponsorship, and then back to Riley Herbst, we didn't mention the fucking monster sponsorship that runs on his car every week. That could be an easy fucking Boom. There's the funds we had from Smithfield. Here's Monster. Bang, bang. There you go. I don't know.
Except they're tied up, right? Aren't they tied up with Monsters already?
They do have Tyler Reddick and Ty Gibbs. So, I mean, at some point, the Monster stable might be overflowing, but who knows? Who knows?
So before we leave SHR, the conversation SHR, I did put out there a poll on Twitter on who you're going to root for once Kevin Harvick retires. A lot of people said they're not going to pick a driver right away, which I think is probably the right way to go. But in the poll, Blaney was the overwhelming favorite. And the only reason I think Blaney was the overwhelming favorite is because I think he's becoming the most popular driver in the world. If he wins this year, I think in a year where Chase Elliott, obviously was on the beach for 6 races and then suspended for another, Ryan Blaney is very fucking easy to root for. I find this guy to be very easy to root for. I don't think anyone hates him. He's got a pretty cool like social life outside of it. I saw him singing like death metal with Bubba Wallace. Yeah, I don't know if you ever saw that clip. Bubba's on the drums and he's out there fucking wailing
incredible
out.
Screamo.
Like he's fucking insane clown posse. But a lot of people had said that Noah Gragson, including our guy Derek Yoder. So, and particularly if Noah winds up in an SHR seat, I think it would be good. And a lot of people also mentioned Ross Chastain, which I think is something that we didn't mention. And then Berry. Berry they like too. I think they like Berry more than Chase Briscoe, which surprised me because I thought Briscoe would be the natural progression also. I'm going to move on to the smoke from this week. There was announced last week that Jesse Love will be jumping into RCR's number 2 in Xfinity next season. We had mentioned how Sheldon Creed was being tossed from the ride, or RCR has decided to part ways with Sheldon, vice versa. Sheldon has yet to announce plans, but he says he's known for weeks what he's going to be doing, and it now looks like it's all but guaranteed to be Joe Gibbs Racing.
His own teammate broke the news. Did you see the drama that went down this weekend?
I got a problem with it, I think. Can we talk about that now? Do you guys have a problem with this?
Let's please talk about it. And let me start by saying I'm very much Team Sheldon. He's in a position where he was going for a win. Like, God forbid he makes an aggressive move or wrecks a car. Like, he was doing exactly what he needed to do. And to see his whole team kind of rally around Austin Hill was kind of lame, in my opinion. Like, Sheldon was doing what any driver would do in that position. Or if you're a team owner, what you think you would want your driver to do, to go hard for the championship. And sure, there were casualties, but I just think the whole reaction was completely overblown. And I also think, as you're probably about to say, Large, I don't think that it's on, like, Austin Hill should not be breaking news about where Sheldon Creed will be racing next year. Now, granted, it is a pretty common knowledge and well-believed rumor at this point, and I don't know. I don't think it's Austin Hill's business to be disclosing that.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, the final start at Martinsville in the Xfinity Series, the final restart was Austin Hill and teammate Sheldon Creed up front for the final restart. And if they would have finished P1 and P2, Sheldon would have been automatically in the playoffs and Austin Hill would have made it in on points. And instead, they started to battle it out. Some people were criticizing when Sheldon had kind of slowed down in front of him, in a block, and that allowed Allgaier to jump ahead and get the win and then essentially shut both RCR drivers out of the playoffs. It was disastrous for RCR. I totally get that. The final part was disastrous. But even if you're not on Spider's team and you think what Sheldon did was a bonehead move or a fucking mistake, and again, I don't know enough about this to see. I watched most of that race, and Sheldon raced hard the whole race. It was a great race. Xfinity was another. I thought it was better than the Cup race at Martinsville. Even if you don't agree, like if the kid had made a mistake, what the owner had said, I thought was just fucking bad. To have Richard Childress say, I've had drivers drive me before, but nobody as stupid as Sheldon Creed. That's a quote. And would you see Rick Hendrick say that? Would you see Joe Gibbs say that? Publicly, I'm talking about. Like, this is a public quote. Do you see that happening? I
love the quote, to be honest. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I mean,
There
Sheldon's got it.
must.
He's got his job lined up. There's clearly like significant beef that's brewed over. And it seems like the same kind of thing that happened with Reddit, where they're just like recklessly making public statements like the timing of this announcement couldn't be any worse. Like it always seems like there's a jab on the way out in a way. So
Yeah.
I mean it's on brand and it's fucking hilarious in my opinion. It's like
I find it to
shades
be
of like a Trump tweet. So I
it's
love it.
very Trumpish. And
Yeah.
I find it, and listen, it doesn't matter because I love inappropriate, but I just don't think that from an owner, when Austin Hill had said, I'm pretty excited for him to go to his next adventure over at Gibbs. That's the quote where he kind of broke the news that it's at Gibbs, even though it still has been made official. And I don't have to put up with him anymore. That's the Austin Hill quote. So you have these two guys. Sheldon Creed, he got an earful from somebody right after he'd gotten out of his car, and Sheldon had said back to him, I don't think you'd have this problem if you were talking to Austin Hill and he did the exact same thing that I did. And which is good to see it's good to see Sheldon do that because he seems like a pretty laid back guy. But then to have your teammates say this and to have your owner say that, this is my question for you guys. Would it be off-brand or detrimental to Sheldon Creed's future if he just made a statement, a public statement, open letter to Richard Childress Racing? You guys shit all over me last week. Austin tried to steal my thunder with announcing where I'm going to, even though I haven't confirmed it with anyone. We're going into Phoenix. I'm not in the championship 4. Would you like to put Jesse Love in the seat? I'll give up my seat for the Phoenix race and not fucking race for you guys since I'm the stupidest guy that has ever raced for you before. I would like to see him say that, and I wonder if that'll never happen. Is what you're saying?
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then how about he goes and
Sheldon,
comes in fucking dead last? I mean, Sheldon Creed should absolutely try to get as few points then as he can for these people who are shitting on him on the way out the door.
part of me thinks again, not to keep going back to Tyler Reddick, but you just kind of like take the high road, put your head down and commit to finishing the job that you originally signed on for. Like to me, that would be pretty respectable. And Sheldon's a pretty laid back guy from what I've seen. I appreciate the fact that he stood up for himself as he was getting shit talked by his own team after the conclusion of that race. But I don't know. I think it would just be I think you go out there, you run the race to your best ability. That would be a fun like storyline to watch, or if you just like wrecked early or like, was going like 75%. But I don't think that would be in his best interest as much as he probably should show the middle finger or like, settle the beef however he see fit.
Or just like say, here, I'm not, go ahead, Jesse Love, you're in. And by the way, Jesse Love brings sponsorship. The kid's a young stud. I get all that kind of stuff. Very wealthy family, all that shit. But say like, here, you're in, and then him just be fucking yugging beers in the Joe Gibbs, pit box.
Or does Sheldon go the other way? He goes the other way. He goes out there and wins, and then it's like fuck you as he's doing.
That's the way to do it.
Middle finger out the window, like you could have had me.
Right? Yeah, I guess. I think we're Team Sheldon. Quiggs, we haven't heard you weigh in. How do you feel about this whole thing? What do you think that Creed should do?
Well, I think he's getting way more blame for what he did. Like, Sheldon Creed's the reason that Austin Hill didn't win that race, but also like he's not the reason he's not moving on in the playoffs. He's not the reason he wrecked. Like that wreck, I think, was caused by John Hunter, the actual wreck that game that did not finish. So like Hill would have been in if he finished. I think he was probably third or fourth.
Yeah, I think he wrecked. He said that there was something like radiator leakage too, which had added to it, and then he wound up finishing maybe 20th or something, I believe. So yeah, I don't think Austin can be blamed. Sheldon can be blamed for all that, but it seems like he is being blamed.
And I don't know. It is weird where it's like there's two sides of the story. Like, where I don't know. Like if you think about it, like somebody that like works at Barstool, and it's like we all know how much of a nightmare they are to work with, and like we're happy when like they're no longer working with us or something. Hypothetically, like I don't know. The people on the outside might be like, oh, they're assholes for not wanting that person to be here, but like. I don't know, when you work there and you see him day by day, you like get a different side of things. So maybe he is like a nightmare. I don't know.
Yeah. I just know that I've been let go from jobs or have left jobs on certain, I don't know, unfriendly terms. And I always made sure I stole a little toner on the way out. You know what I mean? Like at least put one in the upper deck or break a fucking window or something. So I'm hoping that Sheldon does something similar to that. Quigs, what's the person here at Barstool that you have a problem with that you hope gets fired because he's secretly an asshole?
I knew that was completely hypothetical. And the further I kept going in that story, I'm like, this is just going to sound like it's pointed at someone.
It certainly did. It sounded like you had somebody in mind. I'm thinking it's Clem. Before we get into the recap and over-under, we're going to talk about Cabo Wabo. Cabo Wabo Tequila is the official tequila partner of NASCAR. It's not just tequila either. It's damn good, thick cut, 100% blue what?
Blue Weber agave. Agave, not
100% Blue Weber agave tequila. Cabo Wabo Tequila and NASCAR are teaming up to bring thick cut flavor to race days. At home and at the tracks, you can make a Cabo Wabo smoke show. That's Cabo Wabo Tequila's signature cocktail made for the NASCAR partnership, and it is delicious. Cabo Wabo is bringing bold flavor to the racetrack. Go to CaboWabo.com to learn more. You must be 21 years or older to obviously drink this and drink it responsibly. And again, I have all 3 bottles in front of me. After next week's show, I'll be able to crack them open and finish them all. The Reposado, the Anejo, and the Blanco. Thank you, Cabo Wabo. And I believe we're going to be doing some stuff with them again next season. I can't fucking wait. Let's get to what had happened on Sunday. Stage 1, Denny Hamlin. Stage 2, Ryan Blaney. And then Blaney's second playoff win along with Talladega this season. It's the 10th of his career, but his first at Martinsville. So Ryan Blaney now officially has the clock. So the 4 is set, and I like it. It's Hendrick versus Gibbs versus Penske. It's Chevy versus Toyota versus Ford. I like the Final 4, even though I'm a little bit disappointed in some of the guys that I think we all thought was going to pass through and make it through to the Championship 4. Spider, it was a good race. What did you see? What's the Spider's perspective in the over-under from what you saw on Sunday?
The first over will be my Ryan Blaney pick, 12-1 that I gave you last week. We hit on him. Blaney showed the hell up, as well as all the Fords for the most part showed up. So I'm going to take the over on Fords as well. If you look at the top 10, only 1 Chevy in there. There's 2 Toyotas. The other 6 are all Fords, including cars you wouldn't usually see running up front, especially this point in the season. So want to take the over on Eric Almirola and Chase Briscoe. Busher, Cindric, Todd Gilliland rounded out the top 10 in Ford. So good effort by all of them. And that was really where I was at. Denny Hamlin looked strong with the stage win, P3 finish, but unfortunately he needed more than that. So I don't know if I can really take the under on him, but he didn't do what was required. The only other unders I have are like Alex Bowman just having a rough season again, struggling. He got involved in that wreck that caught up a couple cars. Kyle Busch, 27th finish. Reddick, 26th. So some guys that probably are better than where they finished at, but those would be my unders. What did I miss, guys?
I admire what Denny did. I mean, he came out to win stage 1, second in stage 2, and finish P3. That's a hell of a day for a guy who's struggling, to stay alive in the playoffs. Unfortunately,
Absolutely.
The car that was faster than him, the only car, I think, right? Denny probably had the second fastest car on that racetrack, was the guy that could push him out of the playoffs. So it's official then. So Denny is going another year because after his win at Bristol, he became the driver with the most career wins without a championship. Denny Hamlin has 51 career cup victories versus Junior Johnson's 50. So that stink is still on Denny Hamlin. I think this week's action is detrimental. I haven't listened to it yet. I'm going to win it all. I'm going to fucking win it all next year, I think is the title of this week's podcast. So Denny is he's planning to do the same exact thing as he's done for the past, over a decade. He's just going to go back to the drawing board and try to come out and win a championship next year. This is just the broadest question that I can find. Does Denny Hamlin ever win a championship? Does he win a champ? I'm seeing how difficult it is. Quiggs, you went first. You saying that he definitely wins a championship?
Yeah, he gets one.
You think so?
Yeah, I think within the next 3 years,
Spider?
easily. But
All right, I'll play devil's advocate then, and I'll say no. He's already one of the most veteran drivers. If he hasn't done it yet, who's to say he's going to do it now? He could be past his prime. As he said on the show before, when we've had him on as a guest, the drop off and the regression in driver skill and reaction time is significant and pretty immediate. So I'm not wishing this upon him, but God forbid, should that set in sooner than expected, he might not be able to compete at the level that we're familiar with seeing Denny Hamlin race at. So while I'm rooting for him, I'm not super confident that he will ever get it done. There's also drivers that, struggle to win all sorts of things, whether it be drivers that have immaculate resumes but have never won the Daytona 500 or whatever that one box is that they're looking to check. But I don't knock Denny Hamlin for not having one. Sure, it would complete his resume and like his case for being one of the best drivers. But at the same time, it's like, I don't necessarily believe that this playoff or championship format is the best at declaring the most skilled or the most talented driver year in and year out. And to me, the longevity and the success that he's put up over a long period of time is equally as impressive.
He's older than Kyle Busch. He's older than who else is a little bit old? He's older than Brad Kay. He's older than Eric Almirola. Denny is 42 years old. I guess I should open that up to you then, Spider. If you don't think that he necessarily wins a championship over the next 3 years, do you think that he gets a championship eventually as an owner? Because 2311, for them being in their maybe third year in existence, 2311 is only on year 3, but they put both drivers in the playoffs, right? Tyler had gone as far as the final 8. Reddick had gone as far as the final 8. Do you think he has a better chance than winning it as an owner than he does as a driver?
Yeah, I think I would say yes, because there's going to come a point in time, in my opinion, where I think 2311 will become the flagship Toyota team ahead of Joe Gibbs Racing, rather. And I think that's going to come when, as I said previously, Denny either steps away or his talent is not what it is now. And same goes for Truex. These guys are on a kind of a year-to-year contract basis, it seems like, for the last couple of years. So eventually, I think 2311 is going to be the main Toyota team with younger drivers, and MJ and Danny will be in a good spot to hopefully win a championship.
I'm going to throw one more under at you, Spider, because I always find this shit. Well, first of all, I'm going to give you 2. Martin Truex was absolute dog shit in these playoffs.
Yeah,
and I'm pulling for him. I got a fucking bumper. I didn't bet him. I promise you guys, I wasn't betting him on the sly. But he had one top 10 finish. He sat on the pole in Martinsville, but he had that speeding penalty in pit row, which is dumb, right? I mean, that's just fucking dumb. You can't afford to do that. One top 10 finish in the playoffs. It was just disappointing rooting for Martin throughout this whole playoff season. So I got to throw an under on him. And the last one I got to throw on is the pace car. It's kind of embarrassing for Chevy. For the pace car, for people who didn't watch the race, the pace car stalled. Chevy noted that the rubber debris from the track damaged the wiring harness to the fuel pump, disabling the pace car. And the tow truck that came out to tow it off the track couldn't have had a bigger Ford symbol on it. So Chevy takes a little bit of an L when their pace car goes down on the track, and they have to be helped up like an old lady by a Ford. Last thing I'm going to mention. Go ahead,
something
please.
that I didn't know. I didn't know they had a backup pace car.
Yeah.
Which seems like, I mean, it was necessary last week. Seems like overkill. Like, what
when
other
we did
situations?
The Cabo Wabo 250, they had like 5 pace cars.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't know. Sometimes they're used for like other things. I'm not exactly sure.
Well, they do that ceremonial thing where they go around the track, because we were in the pace car in Daytona once too, and you're right, there was like 3 of them at least. There's me and Amy, Richard Petty was in the one behind us and stuff, so I know they have multiple ones. And Joey Logano dumped Ty Gibbs. I don't know if you guys had seen that, but it just seemed, I don't know, kind of mean. Joey Logano, I know, sometimes gets a little smoke with people, and maybe Ty Gibbs was being protective Joe Gibbs, racers or drivers or something like that. It was just a weird little thing that I had seen during that. I don't know if you guys had seen it, but when Joey put Ty into the wall, I wasn't a fucking fan of it. We'll talk about paint schemes before we end Martinsville. Anything jump out at you guys last week? There's a bunch that jump out at me this week.
Yeah, I'm really only focused on this coming week as much as I usually try to give you paints that we saw.
Right.
This week upcoming, we got some sweet ones. 2311, again, love it that they're doing collab. Like two of both the cars are running kind of similar schemes with the Star Wars, as we've seen with Stuart Haas and the Old Spice. I love when teams do that and they're like collaborative. So those are probably two that are sticking out. But the number one is the 51 truck scheme. Rubbin is racing, Jack Wood driving that fucking thing. It's going to be beautiful. We'll be at Phoenix on Friday night watching Jack win the race in that thing. So stay tuned, and hopefully we can get some diecast made up of it too.
That'd be so fucking sweet, wouldn't it? Yeah, so Bubba is going to be the good guy. He's going to be in the X-Wing fighter. I was a huge Star Wars guy. Like R2 is on the trunk.
Nerd.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't get it late a lot. R2 is in the trunk, and then Tyler Reddick will be in a TIE fighter. So, and Bubba's looks fucking clean. He did a promo for it with Mark Hamill, where I think he knocks on his door or something, and Mark Hamill hands him the helmet, and the helmet looks just like a X-Wing fighter helmet. So it's awesome. I'm sure Ryan Blaney is a little bit jealous about it because Ryan Blaney is a huge Star Wars nerd as well. But those are the things that I think are going to be absolutely front and center. And then the last one, Quiggs, did you see the Busch? The Busch beer for Kevin Harvick for the final race?
Harvick?
Yeah.
I did, but I didn't know. Oh, the big difference is they changed Busch to Harvick.
Yeah. I think that's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, so they did the whole Busch background, which we all kind of know. It's got that blue and white motif, big circle, and inside it says Busch or Busch Light. And instead, inside that same exact motif, everything is the same, and in the same font, it just says Harvick. So that's kind of cool for this guy's swan song. And then Spider's absolutely right. Number 51 on Friday night is going to be the one to see. Let's talk about Phoenix for a second. It's brought to you by NASCAR. Again, you guys need to tune in for the last race of the year. It's been a long season. It flew by at certain points. In the summer, it gets a little bit long, but the season is finally over. So on Sunday, 5th of November, 3 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC, you're going to be able to see these guys race for the NASCAR Cup Series Championship. There'll be 4 champions crowned in 3 days at the Phoenix Raceway, so tune into to all the action. We're staying in Scottsdale, which I just looked. It's about an hour away from the racetrack. Spider, we're fucked. We're fucked getting there and getting back. So expect to see us at the racetrack early on Sunday. Expect to see us there for most of the day on Friday. I don't know exactly what we're going to do on Saturday, but
we're going to the bar.
We're definitely going to the bar at Scottsdale on Saturday. I don't know what we're going to do as far as racetrack-wise. And again, I can't stress this more. NASCAR, who's been so nice to us all season, will be sending the champion to our offices here in New York on next Tuesday. I had an idea, and I don't know if this is the way people race, but with Elliott and Bowman not having a horse in the race now, it seems like the lap traffic in general will be pretty respectful. I kind of remember that watching other championship races. Is there ever a point where you see like a guy like Chase Elliott say, fuck it, put Blaney into the wall, and then Bowman put Bell into the wall? That way the 2 Hendrick drivers can just slug it out for a championship? Or is that like the most far-fetched thing that I've ever said and one of the stupidest things I've ever said?
It's a little far-fetched. They won't put him in the wall. They will race him to not let him pass. Like they won't. But yeah, I mean, that'd be if you just had, which would be, it'd be a great twist if it was like the way they actually race is like, hey, team sport, let's get our team the championship any means necessary, and you just got 3 enforcers out there trying to get the one guy who's still in it the win. That would be unbelievable, but that just, I don't think it'll ever happen.
Because it'd be like roller derby, right? Because then the Joe Gibbs racers would be kind of protecting, obviously Chris Bell and so on and so forth. I just think it would be an interesting wrinkle because some of the guys who are shut out have very, very fast cars. Like, I don't think that this is one of those races where you're guaranteed to have the winner be one of the championship 4, which I know it normally happens. If there's going to be a year where it doesn't happen, it might be this year. So with that, let's pick it. Let's pick who we like for the 3 championship races this weekend. We have 3 championship races that we're paying attention to specifically. So what we're going to do is, as opposed to just giving a bunch of picks, we're going to pick one guy for trucks, one guy for Xfinity, and one guy for the Cup Series. We drew straws. I have the first pick in the Truck Series. And in the Truck Series, we have the final 4 is Carson Hocevar. Carson Hocevar is a favorite at plus 150, and Corey Heim. Corey Heim also at plus 150. So the young guns have the shortest odds. And then it's followed by Grant Enfinger at plus 450, and then Ben Rhodes at plus 650. So it's Carson, Corey Heim, short odds, Grant Enfinger, plus 450, and Ben Rhodes. I'm going to go first, and it should come as no surprise to anybody. I'm going with the old guy. I mean, Grant Enfinger, I think, and listen, I'm giving you guys a gift because you can grab the absolute favorites. I don't care. I have to stand up for the old guys. I've already mentioned fucking Larry McReynolds, and you can fucking laugh, Spider, but I'm saying that there's a good chance Hocevar doesn't finish this race. So I'm going Grant Enfinger, and it's plus 450. That's my pick for the Truck Series. Second to go on the Truck Series is going to be Spider. Spider, you have Hocevar, Heim, or Ben Rhodes?
Yeah, I like all 3 of those guys. Ben Rhodes was my pick last year. Corey Heim's been wheeling this year, but I'm going to go with the chalky pick in Carson Hocevar.
You have to. Yeah. Carson Hocevar, absolute chalky pick, which is fine. I left him on the table, and I'm assuming that you're going with Heim. Right, Quigsy?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would have loved to have Hocevar, but that's draft orders for you.
We can make a trade, work out a trade. 3
wins. 19 top 10s. I think he could definitely get it. I think it'll be Heim and Hocevar.
He's had a great season.
Yeah,
he has. I think Hocevar has 4 wins and Heim has 3. So they're the favorites. But I get a feeling I'm taking the old guy. I'm all over Grant Enfinger.
And Heim and Hocevar are equal odds. They're both plus 150.
Yes, sir. Both plus 150.
I think if you're betting that, getting that even odds, you go Hocevar every time.
Right. I mean, that's what some people are saying, but anything can happen, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So NASCAR Xfinity Championship for 2023, it's going to be Quiggs picking first, me picking second, Spider picking last. So who do you like? It's John Hunter Nemechek is terrible odds, minus 125. Overwhelming favorite in John Hunter Nemechek, and then it gets a little bit more chunky. Little Gator, Allgaier is plus 360. Cole Custer is plus 450, and Sammy Mayer is plus 550. So we have those. So those are your final 4. Those are your championship 4. Quiggs, who do you like? Who are you taking?
How are we picking this on? Who we would bet on, or
yes, 100%. You have to pick a driver, but you can't dupe it. So we're taking somebody. And by the way, the fact that we just picked those 3 absolutely guarantees that Ben Rhodes wins this whole thing.
Yeah.
So now you just have to pick one. It's going to be on your sheet. I know even if it's the bad odds, it doesn't matter. It's luck of the draw.
Well, then I guess I'll probably be giving you guys a gift this time because I'm going with not John Hunter Nemechek. I don't like it at minus 150. I'm going Justin Allgaier. I haven't watched every Xfinity race this year, but every time I tune in, he is so fast and just if he's got a good card this Saturday, I think he could win it. I'm going Allgaier.
I like that pick, Quiggs. I think he's got good value compared to the driver he is and his abilities and whatnot. He's also a fucking veteran of doing it. So
I was convinced that I was going to be able to take Allgaier. I thought for sure that you would throw Nemechek on your card, but
I would if it was who do like just straight up out of these 4 guys, who do you think wins? I'd go him, but odds wise, I think Allgaier's. I think Allgaier's so fast.
I'm tempted to take Cole Custer, and I think one of the reasons I'm not taking him is because I don't want to give John Hunter to Spider. That's me just being. But I'm tempted to take Custer. I kind of like him, and I also, we were impressed with him at the kickball thing, which is a wild thing to say. And Cole Custer is sort of. I don't know. He's kind of gritty. I could see John Hunter being such an overwhelming favorite, maybe not getting it done. Pressure getting to him. Already has his seat for next year. I think I'm going to leave John Hunter Nemechek on the table for you, Spider. I am.
This is dangerous, Large.
I'm going to take Cole Custer at plus 450. Honestly,
I'm taking Spider's card be
Spider's card is
Nemechek and Hocevar.
Yes, Nemechek and Hocevar.
And I have the first cup pick, correct?
Yes, you do. You have the first cup pick. I'm telling you right now, anything can happen, and I think either I'm going to look like an absolute fucking asshole or a genius because I have Grant Enfinger, and I'm going to take Cole Custer. 0-0.
Yeah,
Spider?
So part of me wants to ride with Quiggs and go with the JRM guys and take Sam Mayer plus 550, but John Hunter Nemechek's been the man in Xfinity this year. He's had a breakout season. The same things can be said about Hocevar that I said that are true about John Hunter. So I'm going to take him here, and I got two of the favorites thus far, and then I guess I'll just turn the corner into the Cup. So on Sunday,
I pick last on this one. So I'm officially picking last on this one. It's Spider, Quiggs, and then me.
So
who do you take, Spider? Let me tell people beforehand, as of right now, Wednesday at 1 o'clock, Kyle Larson, shortest odds at plus 170, Ryan Blaney plus 275, Byron at plus 340, and Christopher Bell at plus 450. And then there's a big jump. I mean, Harvick's sitting there at plus 1,400 after that. Is kind of tempting too. We're not talking about that now. We got one guy to pick out of the championship 4. Who do you got, Spider?
Yeah, so I have a couple. I have 2 championship futures that remain. William Byron, but then I also have more on Larson. So I'm rooting for Kyle Larson, and I'm also going to take Kyle Larson here. And my logic is this: Larson has punched his ticket earliest into the championship 4. He knew that he was there, and I don't know, like he had the time to prepare. His whole focus, his team, they were all focusing on this race in Phoenix, not necessarily the playoff races like at Martinsville or the week before. So for that reason, I think Kyle Larson has a slight edge here. I think he's probably the best overall driver talent-wise in the Cup Series this right now. Sure, William Byron has the most amount of wins. He's another guy that I'd be content with winning just based on the fact that I have a championship future on him. He's won the most amount of races this year. He probably would be a very deserving champion. But that being said, if I'm a betting man this week, it's between Blaney and Larson. And I'm going with Larson just because, like I said, he has the couple-week head start. He has an edge, and he's looked better. He also won here in 2021. He's usually a rocket at Phoenix. So it's sorry to be all chalky, but chalk.
Yeah. What do you got, Quicks?
Christopher Bell's in the trash can. He's not even in consideration for this. So it's Blaney or Byron.
Christopher Bell can win this race. Bell can win this race.
Can you explain your logic, Quiggs? I'm with you, but why?
I just have no time for Christopher Bell. He's boring and I unjustly hate him. There's no reason to hate Chris Bell. I just kind of hate him. I don't know.
Is he the WWE of drivers for you? You just don't believe in him?
No, because at least the WWE has fans and
man. Chris Bell slander here.
He's going for his neck.
To you. He's a gentleman.
All right, you know what? Fuck it. I'm taking Chris Bell.
Are you?
Put Chris Bell on my card. Yeah.
Wow.
You gotta be uncomfortable with your picks. The guys I always think are gonna win aren't gonna win. I'm going with the guy I don't think is gonna win. Give me Christopher Bell.
I mean, that's what I did the first 2 rounds. All right, so you got Chris. What a change of events.
I don't know why I just did that, but
yeah,
I was definitely going with Blaney before that. But fuck it, give me Christopher Bell.
So Blaney and Byron, I already have William Byron future also plus 850. I took after he won his second race of the year. Man, he looked beat to shit after he got out of the car this week. I know there was some sort of blower not working for him, so whenever he tried to turn on essentially any kind of air conditioning, it was like a hot hairdryer blowing in his face. He got out. He sat right down and beat red face. I think uncomfortably like spit on himself. William Byron had a tough week this week. He did. He had a tough week. And Ryan Blaney had the exact opposite. He's got all the momentum in the world. I was almost surprised that line's not closer than Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney. I thought that it would be like a 170-200 type thing. So it's not. So it's between Blaney and Byron. That's a great spot to be in for me. I already have Byron. I have to take it's easy for me. I already have Byron. I have to take Blaney, and I don't mind it. I don't mind Ryan Blaney. I think he's got the best average finish at this track at Phoenix, so it's not a bad thing. He's got all the momentum in the world, and I think that if he wins, man, this guy is going to be as big of a superstar as probably Chase Elliott. I think he's that likable. The whole deal. So yeah, I'll take Ryan Blaney very easily. So I took, who did I take? Enfinger, I took Cole Custer and Ryan Blaney. Spider has Carson Hocevar, John Hunter Nemechek, and Kyle Larson. And then Quigsy has who did you take? You take Corey Heim?
Corey Heim.
Yeah,
Allgaier.
Corey Heim, Little Gator, and out of nowhere, he takes
Christopher Bell.
Yeah, so that's the sheet for us this week going into the final. I think there'll be a bunch of stuff to sort of take a look at. Again, like kind of Kevin Harvick, I want to see him maybe on a top 3 or a top 5 just to see, because I think, Harvick, you can't help but just try and throw a little bit of money on him. For a top 3, he's plus 350.
I'm taking that.
I might take a look at that. Yeah, because it's the last time we're going to get to talk to him. I tried to get Kevin Harvick on the show this week, but I was unable to, because I think once he gets tied up with certain things as he becomes an announcer, we probably lost our window there. Anybody have any announcements to make before we leave?
No, we'll see you at Barstool Scottsdale. Come on out. Have a great time. We're going to be drinking, and Saturday night, 5 to 7.
And Friday night again. So it'll be 10 o'clock here on the East Coast. You got to tune in to the Truck Series Championship and look out for the 51 rubbing his racing car. I saw the sheet of all the people who are, who are going to be in the race, and underneath it is KBM, Jack Wood, and then there we are, rubbing his racing as primary sponsor, which is very fucking cool. And then I'm going to make one other announcement, if it's okay with you guys. Twisted History is back this week. We're recording this on Wednesday, so it'll drop on Thursday. Twisted History is dropping Wednesday night. So the Twisted History of Canada, for people who follow Twisted History, I did record this one a while ago. Then I had to take it down because Penn had bought the score. So anything that might have been like detrimental to Canada, just to be safe, we took down. This is like a week after I taped Twisted History of Canada, because Canada is filled with a bunch of stuff that you don't want to hear about. So I redid the whole podcast, fixed it up, added a bunch of stuff. So it's an over 2-hour episode. It's myself, Quiggs, and the Saint. And it's going to be out there for the Twisted History of Canada for anybody. I thought it would make sense because we're going to go to Montreal next year, and now that's not going to happen. But fuck it. It's out there. Welcome back, Twisted History. That's it for us. Hopefully we'll see you guys in Phoenix, and if not, we'll see you guys next week with the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion. Have a great week, everybody.